All right, welcome back to Bisrat for Africa. Joined again by my brother Ulriki from Church Reality Check. And today we're looking at the topic of gender and African spirituality. There's a lot of confusion with these modern ideas of spirituality and so on. And really, what it's going to undermine is reality. People are not going to know what reality is. People are not going to know what is a man, what is a woman, because that is no longer something that can be based on the fact that we can see that this is a man, we can see this is a woman, but now there's some mystical spirit that's going to determine all of this. And where you find men, amador, they're calling themselves Gogo, and women calling themselves Omkulu. So that's what we're going to be looking at. But Ricky, it's good to have you back on Bisrat. How are you doing, sir?
Thanks, leadership. Thanks for having me. And to everybody that is on the channel, do like and leave us your thoughts down in the comment section.
So we're going to go straight into the video. And this is coming again from EFF podcast. And this is a political analyst. He calls himself Gogo Aubreey Matshiqi. And so we're going to be just listening to him in this introduction where he actually shares his thoughts on African spirituality and gender and so on. So let's have a look.
If you can help us understand who is Gogo Aubreey Matshiqi.
Well, Gogo Dungezweni, which is my ancestral name, the name that the ancestors gave me, Aubreey Matshiqi.
Okay.
Is a man. Now, as you saw, I hesitated because as a spiritual being, I live in a non-gendered spiritual environment. So that's how I hesitate to say I'm a man.
Okay.
Maybe I should say Ndingumtu Kimutu, who has a passion for beauty.
I think we've pretty much got what he's trying to say there. He's not a man, not a woman, Ngumtu, but at the same time calls himself Gogo. Leadership, let me first just hear your thoughts. What do you think about this? You know, what alarm bells are ringing in your head when a senior man like this, says that he cannot refer to himself as a man?
First off, no offense to my first comment. In the book of Job, we are told, you think wisdom would comes with age as well, and so, but then here you have something that's quite literally such an important piece of being African, like on the basis of the identity we pick up even when we are still young. There's this separation between genders. There's Amatombazani. Even no matter how young you were they bathed by themselves. If you grew up with young ladies, you know what I'm talking about. They bathed you separate from the ladies. By the time when I was growing up, I was the only boy, and so I had my two sisters and my cousin. And they would bath in one area, I'd bath in one area. So there was clear separation between the genders. Now, this does also bring up a very important viewpoint for what we become in adulthood. When we go to our initiations, what are we doing that for if we are not clearly defined in this particular aspect of our identity? If we are not clear on I am a man, I can be sure about that because it means something, particularly to being a human being. Okay? Just this one thought. God created them male and female. If he just created a being, he would have just left it there. Okay?
Absolutely.
You can justify the whole being part when Adam was by himself. But he then but we have a clarity in chapter number 1 that the intention, after he created Adam, you can say, okay, no, he was just thinking. But no, the intention of this being was already established in Genesis chapter number 1. So when you see the creation of him in chapter number 2, you already have the definition that he is man, but there is an intention to have him have a helper already.
Absolutely.
I don't know your thoughts on that particular part, on that Genesis part there, because I think it's very important we take that, because he's very, you know, I'll highlight this for someone that might not be thinking about it. The Bible narrows down subjects. It's very strict on how it narrows subjects. It goes from, in the beginning, God. And God created the heavens and the earth. It doesn't talk about that. And then it says, and the earth was without form and void. Okay, now we are narrowed down to earth. And then God creates. And then he saw it was good. He saw it was good. Good for what? For the creature that he intends to put there. He creates the person and he separates the two genders.
Absolutely.
Even in the fall, it is the man that names the woman.
Absolutely.
No matter how much intelligence, how much independence Eve had, it was the man that named her Eve. And Adam, in his authority, he is told, Eve is told, your husband will rule over you. It's part of her identity. Yeah, you can tell me what your thoughts are on that, Genesis.
No, I think you've said it well. Yeah, for us, you know, from a biblical perspective, we do think that Christianity actually restores African culture, because really, if we are having men who are not men, right? You know, this whole idea of, if you have ugogo, therefore you now no longer a man, we must refer you to something else. That means you can, a man can go to female toilets, and this confusion that is created. But I love the verse that you spoke about, Genesis chapter 1, I think from 26, you know, where it says male and female, he created them. There's a clear distinction there in the Bible. And even, you know, going a bit further, because I know they like to attack us and say we are misogynistic, you know, the Bible hates women. But actually, we do believe that the Bible actually uplifts women, because African spirituality, as the way that they are portraying it, actually undermines a woman, because you no longer have a woman, you have just spiritual beings, but it's not really a woman. But again, you know, with Adam and Eve, God gives them equal value, but different roles. And obviously, there's a different role of leadership that's given to Adam, and that's echoed throughout the Bible. And this is not something that is supposed to sort of undermine women, but actually supposed to uplift them. Because when men are not men and they are not playing their role in leading, you know, in protecting, in guiding, and so on, then women are actually becoming more and more vulnerable. You know, our societies are also, you know, I think if you find, you know, if you look at Africa now today, it's mostly a women-led society. And I think some of the problems that we have is because the man is not at church, right? The majority of people at church are women. The father is not present at home. And so when we come then and undermine femininity, or we undermine masculinity, you know, we are just making this problem even worse, where we are supposed to affirm this is a woman, this is a man, and we're not saying, you know, masculinity must be toxic. You know, the example for a man is set out in the Bible by Christ, you know, who laid down his life for the church, which is the bride. So our standard of leadership as men is Christ, which is sacrificial. But it also doesn't reduce, like you were saying, the fact that there is a leadership role that is different for a man and a woman. And so that I think in Christianity, those things are uplifted. I don't know if you have any further thoughts, leadership.
If you extend, let's extend that. When we do not become very firm about the man's role in his identity, we can create problems. We can create further problems, because what ends up happening is that you have people that are not just confused about their roles, but they're confused about how to interact with others outside of their role. You know,
absolutely.
I'll give you an example. If a man messes up, you know, when we were kids and stuff like that, you know, it's cool, we're gonna meet outside
and sort it out.
Yeah, we're gonna sort it out. and so as men, when we grew up, we learned our place within the hierarchy. You know, we checked each other quickly. We checked each other quickly. And now, because we are now dealing with this city lifestyle, independent this, independent that, the man is trying to find himself in that. And instead of understanding his charge in that. You know, he's threatened by the woman that has a career. He's threatened by a woman with degrees. Man, if I understand my role in society, even if I'm unemployed, I am walking up to a woman who's walking to her car. I'm very much clear.
Yeah.
I'm very much affirmed in my role. It has nothing to do with possession or anything like that. You see that?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Even in the household, lastly, you know, even in the household, when we have, why do we have men that just prefer spending money with friends and all this kind of stuff, and they wouldn't care to spend a single dime for the woman that they left a child with? They would be actually even emboldened to tell us that she can starve for all they care. Because why? Role. We've forgotten that aspect of role, and so it affects a lot more, and we need to be very distinct about what the Bible. Identity is everything, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you've enjoyed the video, this is part 1 of 2 videos that we're doing. The second part will be on Church Reality Check. And so please do tune in over there, and we'll have this discussion a bit further as well. This is Bisrat for Africa. Thank you so much, Ricky, for joining us today and giving some thoughts. Truly do appreciate you coming.
Awesome stuff.